Your cat has never meowed at another cat. Not once. Not in its whole life. If you've got more than one cat at home, listen tonight, and you'll notice something strange. They hiss at each other, they yowl, they growl low in their throats when they're annoyed. But that specific sound, that classic meow, gets saved entirely for you. So why would an animal invent a sound, keep using it every single day, and reserve it for exactly one species that isn't even its own? What if your cat didn't just happen to meow at you? What if it built that sound specifically for your ears and adjusted it over thousands of years until it worked? By the end of this, you'll know exactly why cats stopped meowing at each other, why the meow your cat gives you sounds nothing like the call of its wild ancestor, and why scientists think your cat may have quietly reshaped its own voice just to get through to you. This isn't speculation. It's backed by acoustic research comparing domestic cats directly to the wild species they came from. And once you hear the difference, you'll understand why your cat's meow has always sounded so, well, made for you. Here's where it gets interesting. Kittens meow. All of them. Constantly at their mother, because a meow is a request. Feed me. Warm me up. Come find me. It's the sound of total dependence. And in most cats, that sound is supposed to fade out. As a kitten grows into an independent adult, the meowing drops away because adult cats simply don't need it anymore. They switch to a different toolkit entirely, one built for talking to other cats. Scent marking, body posture, slow blinks, tail position, a whole silent vocabulary that doesn't require sound at all. So if meowing is a kitten behavior that's supposed to disappear, why does your adult cat still do it? Constantly. Every single day. Why hasn't it grown out of it? Because somewhere along the way, in a home with you, it never had a reason to stop. Researchers describe this as a kind of arrested development, a behavior from kittenhood that gets carried straight into adulthood, but only in cats that live closely with humans. Your cat isn't broken or immature. It just decided you were worth keeping the kitten channel open for. But here's the detail that turns this into something bigger than a cute observation. In 2004, researcher Nicholas Nicastro ran a study comparing the meows of domestic cats directly against the calls of the African wildcat, the closest living wild relative of the cat sitting on your couch right now. He recorded both, measured the actual acoustics, and then played the recordings to human listeners with no context at all, just the sound. The wildcat's call came out long, harsh, and demanding, the kind of sound that grabs your attention through sheer volume and urgency. The domestic cat's meow was shorter, higher pitched. And across every single listener, regardless of whether they even liked cats, the domestic version was rated as far more pleasant to listen to. Not slightly more pleasant, significantly more pleasant. Every time in every context tested. Think about what that actually means. Somewhere in the thousands of years since cats moved into human homes, their calls changed shape, specifically in a direction humans find easier to tolerate. Shorter, softer, higher, the kind of sound a person is less likely to shut a door on. Nicastro's data reads like evidence of a slow negotiation between two species, one where the cat's voice quietly adjusted itself to keep working on us. And it doesn't stop at the meow. In 2009, researcher Karen McComb, the same scientist behind the slow blink study we've covered before, turned her attention to purring. She recorded cats purring in two very different situations. Purring while calmly relaxed, and purring while actively trying to get food from their owner. On the surface, both sounded like ordinary purrs. But McComb's team found something hidden inside the food-soliciting purr, a high-frequency sound embedded right in the middle of it, sitting almost exactly in the pitch range of a human infant's cry. People who listened to the recordings, even people who'd never owned a cat in their life, rated the food-soliciting purr as more urgent and harder to ignore. When researchers digitally stripped that hidden frequency out and played the purr back, the urgency disappeared completely. Same cat, same context, just missing one buried sound. That single frequency was doing almost all the emotional work. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you a little, in the best way. Your cat isn't consciously plotting any of this the way a person would. But somewhere in its evolutionary history, the version of meow and purr that happened to tap into human instincts got reinforced generation after generation because it worked. Cats that sounded more like a human baby got fed faster, noticed sooner, forgiven quicker. The ones that didn't simply got less of your attention. Over enough time, that's not a trick. That's selection, quietly building a voice designed for exactly one listener, you. And that listener-specific design goes even deeper than most people realize. Recent acoustic research comparing cat vocalizations found that purrs carry a strong, consistent signature. Something close to an identity, where listeners could correctly match a purr back to the specific cat that made it most of the time. Meows, on the other hand, were far less consistent from moment to moment, even coming from the same cat. That inconsistency isn't a flaw. Researchers read it as flexibility, a sound that isn't locked to a fixed catalog, but one that can bend and shift depending on who it's aimed at. Which means your cat's meow was likely never meant to be a shared cat-to-cat language in the first place. It's closer to something tuned in real time, shaped around the one specific human it lives with, adjusted meow by meow based on what actually gets your attention. The cat down the street with the exact same breed and the exact same vocal cords almost certainly doesn't sound like yours, because it isn't talking to you. It's talking to someone else, in its own version of the same invented dialect. So tonight, actually listen. Not just to whether your cat is meowing, but to how differently it meows depending on what it wants. The short, clipped one at the food bowl, the longer, rising one at the door, the low, almost conversational one when it just wants you to notice it's there. None of that is random noise. It's a private vocabulary, refined over thousands of years, built for an audience of exactly one. Your cat didn't inherit this sound from the wild. It built it, generation by generation, specifically so you'd understand. That's not a coincidence, and it's not just cute. It's one of the clearest signs that your cat has spent its entire evolutionary history learning how to be heard by you, specifically. Pay attention tonight to how many different meows your cat actually has, and let us know in the comments which one you hear the most.